What's up, YouTube? The story I'm going to outline for you today will follow a king, a man of gold, and a lethal weapon. No, not that lethal weapon. But the fact is, they were all on a collision course for heavyweight supremacy. This is a tale of thrones and infinity stones, and the end is inevitable. Alright, so before I go into the story, I just want to give you a quick breakdown of how a boxing division works. There's 4 sanctioning bodies, which means there's 4 championship belts. WBC, IBF, WBO, WBA. Each of which have their own ranking systems and one guy who they claim to be their champion. Now, if you're a fighter, you have one of these belts, you're a world titleist. But you're not restricted to have one of these belts. In fact, most fighters, if they dare to be great, they want all 4 of these babies. It means you beat the guy who all these sanctioning bodies consider their champions. It means you're the man. In getting all 4 belts, what is likely to happen is that the Ring magazine issues a 5th belt, which is the lineal championship, which means when they see a clear 1 and a clear 2 in each division, these are the 2 best guys in the division, they face off, a lineal championship belt is issued. That belt, once it's issued in this format, there's no other way to get it aside if someone beats you. In order to be the man, you gotta beat the man. So no one else in the division can get this belt unless they beat you. So you can look at these belts and just let's consider them infinity stones for this story. Just bear with me. So this story is gonna follow Tyson Fury. I'm talking a silver-tongued giant, 6'9", 260, talks the talk, walks the walk, as flashy as can be. He's gonna tell you about it. The next guy is Anthony Joshua. I mean, this guy's a promoter's dream. He has a golden thumb. Everything he touches turns to gold. He's tall, he's dark, he's handsome, got like a 12 pack, built like an Adonis. Then you got Deontay Wilder. Now this guy is wielding Thor's hammer. He is a humanized weapon. The most lethal, dangerous right hand that we've ever seen. All right, the story doesn't start here. It doesn't start with those 3. I'm gonna have to take you back. Heavyweight division. The Glamour Division. This is the big guys. These are 200+ pound men. Everybody got power. That's why a 205 pound guy can fight a 300 pound guy in this division. Anything goes, man, and it's okay because everyone can knock out everyone in this division. It takes one punch, especially in this division. And for a long time, us boxing fans, we were spoiled. We had Larry Holmes, we had Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, we had Mike Tyson. And I'm sorry if I'm leaving out some guys. But these were the baddest man on the planet because the heavyweight champion was the baddest man on the planet. No matter how good Floyd Mayweather was or any of those little guys were, we all knew if they saw each other outside, the heavyweight would win. And then came the Klitschko brothers. The Klitschko era. Now this is a hard era for us boxing fans to talk about because they took away the most exciting division in boxing. Because for over a decade, man, these guys dominated the division with the most boring style in boxing. They were these huge Ukrainian monsters that behind a long jab and hugging and putting their weight, the smaller opposition, they will wear them out and knock them out with a right hand. And it was the most boring thing you've ever seen. And to make it worse, outside of the ring, they were even more boring. There were no entertainment factor in them. Back to our main characters. Let's fast forward to 2008. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, they go pro after the 2008 Olympics. Deontay actually medaling, getting the bronze medal, calling himself the Bronze Bomber. Later on, after the 2012 Olympics, Anthony Joshua in 2013, he turns pro. He had brought home gold to Great Britain. I'm telling you, this guy turns everything to gold. In 2014, Deontay Wilder gets his first shot. At this point, he's accumulated a record of 30-0, 30 by knockout. But he was fighting tomato cans and taxi cab drivers, part-time boxers, right? That part was not that crazy. He's fighting his first real test. Malik Scott starches him in 1. Good night, baby. Power's real. Get used to it. Tyson Fury, later that year in 2014, he clears out the British boxing scene. He fights a rematch with Derek Chisora, who he had beaten a unanimous decision early in his career, then knocks him out in the 9th round, making him the lead contender to fight Vladimir Klitschko, who has 3 of the belts at the time. The 4th belt, you ask, that belt is owned by Vitaly Klitschko, who at this point had retired and went to Ukraine to do politics, vacating the belt. This vacant belt was fought for by Bermane Stiverne and Chris Arreola. Yes, Arreola. That fight was won by Bermane Stiverne, making him the WBC champion. The first time a titleist in the heavyweight division not named Klitschko. That leads to Deontay Wilder fighting Bermane Stiverne in January of 2015. Deontay gets his heavyweight title shot. He outboxes Stiverne, hurting him multiple times during the fight, but he couldn't take him out like all his other opponents. But he wins, unanimous decision. Deontay Wilder is now a heavyweight champion. He beats everyone. He beats Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to the first belt. In November that year, Tyson Fury gets his shot at Vladimir Klitschko, who has been taking everybody out in the most mundane way possible, but taking them out for over a decade. But Tyson Fury was different. Tyson Fury talked his way under Vladimir's skin. And when I mean talked his way, look up Tyson's Fury talk game. His trash talk game is through the roof. Might be the best in boxing. Vladimir was pissed off, and when they got in the ring, he was gun shy. Now, to be fair, this was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen. But Fury, being awkward, being quick-fisted, and not being afraid like all of other Vladimir's opponents, dethrones Klitschko. Now we have Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury holding all pieces of the heavyweight title. No one named Klitschko. We were free of the Klitschko era. So Fury's champion, but rematch. That's usually what happens after high-profile fights such as the Klitschko and Fury, especially after the favorite loses. A rematch clause is written into the contract. Problem is, the IBF belt, the one Fury just ripped off the waist of Klitschko, said, hey buddy, you gotta fight your mandatory. Fury, being contractually obligated to comply with the rematch clause, can't fight his mandatory, so he vacates the belt. That belt is later won by American heavyweight Charles Martin, and immediately after that, one fight later, he runs into a buzzsaw, and you guessed it, your boy, the golden boy, Anthony Joshua. 2-round knockout, Anthony Joshua now owns the IBF belt, giving him claim to the overall heavyweight title, and the world is raving. Everyone loves Anthony Joshua, and the consensus had formed around him, saying that he was the best heavyweight in the world. So later that year, 2016, the rematch is going to happen. Contracts are signed. Everything going according to plan, boom, we get a hiccup. Doctor from Fury's camp releases a statement saying that his condition is too severe and he's medically unable to fight. End quote. That's it. The next time we will see Fury is not for another almost 3 years. In the interim, while Tyson Fury is figuring his life out on hiatus, Anthony Joshua seizes the throne, and he has a claim to the heavyweight championship with the IBF belt. So, Klitschko, not being able to get his rematch, says, let's get it on. So, deal's done. April 2017, we get to see Vladimir Klitschko, the fallen champion, versus Anthony Joshua, the ascending star. Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people in attendance, the biggest gate in boxing till this day, and the fight did not let you down. If your ass wasn't on the edge of the seat, it's because you were standing up close to your screen screaming at it. Ended in an 11-round knockout with Anthony Joshua nearly decapitating Klitschko, making his next stop retirement, and Joshua cementing himself as the heavyweight king.
Except for one little problem. Deontay still got the WBC belt.
Just when you thought there were two left, Tyson Fury makes a comeback. And not only that, he reveals that what had been happening to him over the last 3 years. He was battling mental health issues. The guy was suicidal. He had ballooned into morbidly obese 400-pound man. And he was battling alcoholism and drug abuse. Then he got his life together. Now he did get himself back into boxing shape. He found a new view on life and said, man, I'm not going to waste time fighting nobodies. I want to be champion again. And I'm going to fight the most dangerous guy in the boxing division. And that's Deontay Wilder. Now everyone is advising him not to, because you're just coming off a 3-year layoff. As you will later get to know, Tyson Fury does whatever Tyson Fury wants. There's no stopping him once he's made his mind up. December 2018, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder meet in the ring. And man, this fight delivered. Tyson Fury showing that even at 6'9", 260, he showed he was maybe the best boxer in the heavyweight division popping shots and being evasive and outpointing Deontay Wilder for most of the fight. And then Deontay, showing that he still has the lethal right hand, landed it twice, including once in the 12th round where Fury showed the craziest grit I've ever seen. I mean, we've seen Deontay land his right hand so many times, and we know how the story goes. Good night. Fury gets up. I don't know how. I mean, this guy was flattened, eyes rolling back, and managed to get up like Undertaker at WrestleMania. And not only did he get up, but he managed to win the remaining of that round. I had Fury winning, but you can argue it both ways. The fight ended in a controversial draw, and I know it sucks for those two fighters, but we were the winners. Because with the draw, they had to have a rematch. We gotta settle this one. So after showing that two of the top heavyweights from two different networks were able to get into the ring with each other and try to settle it out, who's the best, Anthony Joshua started to make his own moves. In 2019, he wants to make his American debut. He comes to MSG. Anthony Joshua is coming to Madison Square Garden against a last-minute step-in because the original fighter got suspended for kissing a reporter. Another story for another day. And I'm talking Andy Ruiz. I'm a short, stubby, chubby little heavyweight with a lot of heart. And we all love him, but we all know Anthony Joshua is going to win, right? Wrong. Andy Ruiz pulls off a 12-1 upset. I mean, one of the biggest upsets since Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson in Japan. This guy was not supposed to win, and he stopped Anthony Joshua in the 7th round, putting the world in a standstill. The boxing world cannot believe that Anthony Joshua, the perfect specimen, the golden boy, lost to Andy Ruiz. I mean, this upset was so shocking that the streaming service, DAZN, that hosted the fight, even made a documentary on it. 6 months later, the highly anticipated rematch happens, and everyone is talking about it. It's all anyone can talk about. Is Anthony Joshua going to be the same? Can he reclaim his title? Can he take a punch? Will he ever be the same fighter? We've seen this story manifest in very different ways in boxing. Sometimes a fighter can't recover from their first loss and they're never the same. Anthony Joshua changes everything from his physique to the location of venue. It goes from MSG to Saudi Arabia, and Anthony Joshua loses muscle mass. He obviously wants to implement a more boxing and more endurance style throughout the fight, stylistically. And that's exactly what happened. Anthony Joshua outboxed him, outpointed him through a 12-round fight, and he showed that he was able to adapt to his opponent's boxing style. And not to take credit away from him, Andy Ruiz, being an overweight guy already, came drastically more overweight, and admittedly after the fight said he didn't train and was very ill prepared, and Anthony Joshua reclaims his belt. So 2020 rolls around. We get the highly anticipated rematch between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Is it going to be reminiscent of the first fight? Deontay Wilder seems to think so. He tells Tyson Fury that he's going to finish where he left off, knocking him down in the 12th round. And Tyson Fury takes a unique approach. He says, all right, instead of outboxing you, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to show you that you, the puncher, can't take a punch. And I'm going to put the pressure on you. Tyson Fury goes gets a trainer from Krong Gym, a more offensive style trainer, teaches him how to come forward, implement his offense, and he backs down Deontay Wilder, stopping him in the 7th round one-sided fight. I mean, it didn't look like Deontay Wilder deserved to be in the same ring as this guy. Deontay Wilder got beat up so bad that he left the ring saying that his entrance suit was too heavy that made his legs weak. His trainer had spiked his drink. It was excuse after excuse after excuse. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury still in the ring, singing bye-bye Miss American Pie. All this video goes to say is that we are in the final stretch, guys. Now there really is 2 fighters left. It's Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. This is Infinity War. Somebody's about to collect the last Infinity Stone, put that thing in their gauntlet, and snap, they become undisputed. What's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to the end. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it. Keep coming back, keep tuning in so I keep pumping out content. Help me help you. Come on now.